Hello, party people. My name is Patrick Freeman, and you're listening to another episode of Oak Performance Radio. Enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oak Performance Radio. I'm your host, Adam Lane. If you're new to the show, our goal here is to create some content, some fantastic content for athletes, parents, and coaches. We tell stories, have laughs, and go into everything that is the end game of athletic performance, helping athletes achieve their optimal performance and be the best they can possibly be. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Oak Performance Radio. I'm your host, Adam Lane. With me today, finally, after years of dodging this, Patrick, Mr. Patrick Freeman on the podcast, Oak Performance Radio. Here we are.
Thank you for having me.
And you weren't dodging. Let's be clear. You just, this is finally, we ran through everyone. And
I know.
And that was your turn.
Finally, you're like, okay, what's the last card that I have here? Oh, okay.
Gosh. I got really desperate. And now here we are. No, joking. Patrick, for the tens of people that listen to the show who don't know who you are and why you're such a big deal, tell these people who you are and why you're such a big deal.
Well, definitely not a big deal, but I'm the executive director for United Sports and VC United. So they're kind of one and the same. So I manage our facility, and I'm the business side of VC United.
Gotcha.
So I work a lot with Eric. So all of our staff, our general staff, basically they report to me.
Mm-hmm. So, and because it's a business.
It is
bills to pay.
We got bills to pay. That's right.
People's livelihoods.
We got to we got to put food in mouths.
Yes.
All of that. Yeah.
Well, and then just things, I mean, I think hopefully most of our listeners know there's a lot of the club stuff, and I'm not saying this is bad, but a lot of club stuff where it is a side hustle for people.
Oh yeah.
And I'm talking all sports, baseball, softball, basketball, where like people running these things are doing their full-time deal during the day. And then they're like, oh, I run a club basketball thing at night, which you can do. That is not your guys' setup. This is your livelihood. Amber's livelihood, Peter's livelihood, Eric's livelihood, yep. Ainsley's livelihood. Like right. you have full-time employees, 5 of them. Mm-hmm. We'll count Eric in this, full-time employees plus how many part-time coaches? 80, 70?
Yes. 70 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like it not only is it like, hey, we're providing a service for kids to, really enjoy the sport that they love, but like you're providing, putting food on the table.
That's right.
For people, which I didn't think I would take so much pride in as a business owner, but at 13 years in, I now do. Like it just, I'm like, oh, how
the stress side of things as well as the reward side of things. Yeah. When all goes well, people are happy, they get paid.
Yeah.
Their families are happy. You try to do all those things and try to manage all that, and it does fall on you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're doing something that you love. And yeah. So just, I don't know. I want to clarify that because I think that's a neat separation between,
yes,
what you guys have going on. And
a ton of the clubs that are smaller than like a mid-sized club, they kind of have to, right? Either due to they only have a club program. And so there's really not a lot of margin in club programming. Yeah. There's, you're paying for tournaments and coaches and travel and everything. And by the time it's done, it's not that much. And so, those programs are smaller or they don't travel out, trying to keep the cost down. We're kind of that middle of the road, upper echelon of the area. And so, there's a lot that goes into it, including partnerships like Oak. Like not everybody has an Oak Performance to actually go along with this. Yeah. And whatever those are, they still at the end of the day, they're amazing things for the athletes and make them better and get them prepared and make them safer and stronger. But my side of it is I have to look at the dollar side of it and know that it all works. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does, but that's a me. That's a you.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Again, there's a lot going on. A lot of moving pieces.
There is.
So Patrick, you also coach.
I do.
Because you wouldn't want to go to, home before 6 p.m.
Absolutely not.
Your wife wouldn't know what to do if you all of a sudden walked in the door.
Who are we talking about?
That lady that lives in your house.
That's who that is?
That's who that is.
After all these years, finally somebody has told me why she's there.
Yeah. Not just to cook and clean, but
she would love to hear you.
She would love to. Will she listen to this podcast?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
I'm so sorry. That she has to listen to this poor podcast. No. So Patrick, what's interesting, because you've coached for a long time. You actually played volleyball as a youth kid, which most of the males here did not. I'm going to say a lot of the males here, a lot of the older males here did not. You actually played high school volleyball at Buffalo Grove, that small little school in the suburbs.
Tiny little school out there in the suburbs.
And you know, like Eric didn't have volleyball experience. I obviously had, I have negative volleyball experience. So I think that's a neat perspective. So what's interesting about watching you coach, because I think I do a really nice job, not in an arrogant way, just in an interested way. I love to see how different coaches coach and they get their point across. And I don't care if it's you're trying to help an athlete squat better, or if you're teaching them, hey, their platform is garbage. Hey, we need to fix this in that way. And different coaches will say things in different ways in which to, whatever. I see you, especially with some of the one-on-one training that you will do with kids, privates and stuff like that. Like, not only is there, hey, we're actually playing the volleyball, but there's a lot of conversation that happens. I really find it interesting and respect the heck out of you. I think you really hit the mental game of this quite hard. If you were to generalize and what you see in today's athlete, what do most kids not know that they need to know?
That's a great question. I think when they walk into the gym and they're getting into practice mode or game mode or whatever that is, I think what they forget about it is they're not just showing up and playing that game. I think we forgot about so much of the preparedness pieces.
Yeah.
They don't walk in and then leave it at the door, or something like that. This generation is a little bit, they're wired a little differently than prior generations. Generations just showed up and they're like, hey, I've been waiting all day to do this. This generation isn't quite like that. Yeah. It's like, you got to get them prepped for it, or you got to find a motivator to get them going there, because they've got so many other influences during the day, whether it's academics or social or the amount of information they take in on their devices, their watches and their phones and things like that. There's just so much. By the time they get here, sometimes they're exhausted. Yeah. So I find that coaches need to be on their game more so about the relationship they actually have forged with the player. Yeah. So if we can go deep enough, and then there's a level of trust where I can say, you're not yet ready, or you need to step up and you need to really be thinking about what you're doing here. They know that it's coming from a place that I'm truly telling them as a person, like, oh, you're not prepared right now. Like, let's get on this, use your mind. Don't just show up and go through the motions, because I feel like whether it's one of your coaches, one of our coaches, some of the things that we hear are, I feel like I'm standing up there saying it and everybody's, they're not really paying attention, whatever, but you still expect them to execute. And so I think out on any playing surface, when we're out there, it's just like, dial in, guys, be prepared for this, because it means something. It's whether it's recruiting, homework, whatever. It's like, care a little bit about what we're doing and know that you've got to figure it out. Use that amazing gift that's up above your shoulders and really think hard, because they're super, super smart, but sometimes they just go through the motions. Yeah. And so I figure out in my mind that if I make that connections, I can snap, I can crack the whip just a little bit and they'll snap too. Us parents also that have it know that we had to do some of that along the way too. Yeah. So some of that parenting goes along with that. But I also know if we run hot and cold too much, we lose the ability of to offer trust. Yeah. To really, because they lack confidence sometimes in knowing that they can do it, even though they can. Yeah. And it's like, I'm going to tell you can. I'm going to tell you to focus, and then I'm going to let you do it. And now you be bigger, badder, stronger, and you're doing it on your own. So you got to be able to bring all of that as a coach. Yeah.
So coaches, listen up here. That establishing a relationship, I think, is hard for people. I think of young teacher Adam at 22 years old, just naive and versus 45-year-old Adam, where there's less we.
That's true.
And so in the way of, and I could not agree with you more. And it's fun to watch some of the older coaches, like your Andres and your Bills, who are so good, who've been in the classroom, they understand that whole piece. If you're giving advice to a young coach who is trying to figure this out, because there's a line between, I see a lot of hot and cold, like all of a sudden, like, I'm going to yell and scream at you, but then I'm going to be your best buddy, but then I'm going to yell and scream at you. And then, now I'm going to make some pop culture reference and we're going to giggle about Kendrick's, halftime show. You
see all this gray hair? I can't do that. Yeah, I don't even understand half of it.
And so that's the thing. But I think it's confusing for if you say younger coaches, hey, we need a solid relationship, they turn into their 25-year-old best buddy, and that's not what they're looking for.
No.
What does that mean when we say build the relationship? How do you do that? What do you see? How does that work?
So a lot of the relationships start probably just traditional coach. Beginning of the seasons, I tend to spend a lot of time watching, not a lot of speaking, just seeing how they interact with each other, seeing who and what they are as a player, and then will give input that's specific. Like I'm looking for something. I'm looking to see, like, do they respond? Are they quiet? How do they respond to their teammates and whatnot? Are they a leader? What are they?
Yeah.
Also, if I give them very specific inputs, how do they respond to me? Yeah. And so I've now rated you on, I guess we'll call it coachability, but the relationship piece. Yeah. I need to understand, like, are you open? Are you closed? Where are you in terms of what I might say?
Yeah.
And also other coaches. Like, do I find that you respond very well to another coach and going, oh, what is it about that I see? Oh, do they happen to know each other? Do they have a past experience? Have they already forged that relationship? And I kind of go off of that of how do I see those interactions? The number one thing that I tend to do is realize that in another year and a half, or year and less than a half, I'll be 50. So to be,
holy cow,
I know, getting
50,
here. But to pretend that I'm 100% relevant to everything in their day to day, I'm not. So what I need to be is a couple of things, because I want to understand half of what they're saying.
Yes,
right. But just to be there and kind of enjoy a little bit of what's going on, and I don't have to understand anything, but can enjoy just watching them grow up.
Yep.
Right. But in order to offer the relationship, we've got to forge some kind of, they have to trust me that if I'm going to say something or do something, that it's not just an offshoot, that I mean it out of a place of like caring, for me to know that it is a certain way. So when I say it, they know exactly what to expect out of that.
Yeah.
So the consistency, so coaches that will go hot and cold and like, I want to be your friend this day or whatever, the consistency, if they know what coach is going to be like today, even if they're having a bad day or whatever and whatnot, but they're still there for me and they're going to coach a certain way.
Yeah.
That being even keeled for them, they will then trust the fact that you're genuine.
Yeah.
Once we get by that and they've heard it enough and they know these are the expectations, you can start putting them through, you can go deeper and deeper into the fire. Yeah. And they will understand, like, okay, so you want me to put both feet in the fire and you're saying it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
If you've gone to battle with them, if you start to ask questions of like the whys and the hows and why are you feeling like this, or why do you back off at this time, and you're approaching their confidence, and helping them through that, and maybe even saying, I'm going to reward your effort in the beginning, and we're not connecting yet. And while some are going, but you're still missing the shot. But I'm going, it all starts with how hard you go at that shot. And once you're comfortable going that hard, we'll find the shot. Yeah. If we reward the right things, honestly, I think you do end up, as long as you stay consistent with that messaging, I think they eventually look at you and go, okay, I know what to expect out of him. So I'm going to start to trust him. And eventually over time, we've got 7 months in that season. You will establish in the first like 2 to 3 months. It takes a while, because why would they trust you in the first couple of weeks? They don't know you. Once you get to that point, honestly, you can say, this is the punishment for that. Or, guys, this is the goal. We fell short, but we got really close. Let's go try it again. And I think if you use the right terms, I think if you show that you're caring, you want to get there too, and you're using a we scenario versus a you guys and I'm here, and there's that separation. if you're in it together and you're helping them through it, they're going to appreciate that and find that you're genuine and want to do more. So once we finally get that, I feel that we're going, you need to get here. I'm going to get on you harder and harder as you begin to trust me, because you know that I'm not doing it because I'm yelling at you as a person. Yeah. Because you need to be better and you're not giving it all. They will start to give that up. And then we end up by the end of the season going, I think I know what I got to do. I think I know what I just went through and where I'm at right now as a player. Can I do better in Oak? Can I put in the time that equals what we need out on the court? Can practices be better? Can I be better on teams? And can I bring who and what I am now to every team I play on? Yeah.
How do you, because we didn't give any specifics in that. I think sometimes it's nice to, if you point out what not to do, I think sometimes it's easier to figure out what to do. Because I think coaching is very much an art. Like that's true. There's actual biomechanics of things. Say, we want you to do this because of this and this way, especially in our realm. What should a coach not do in the way of, we're trying to build this relationship. We're trying to get them, connected. We want them to go out, the last tournament of the season and lay it all on the line and trust the teammates that they're going to give everything that they can. They might win, they might lose, blah, blah, blah. We thought the Chiefs were going to win. They did not. Ball bounces, a bad way, blah, blah, blah. And so again, you want to come out on the winning side of things, but sometimes it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But you, like, in a perfect world and a perfect team, everybody trusts that the coach is going to have the right people on the court at the right times. They trust that, the people on the court are going to be doing everything that they should in which to play the best that they possibly can be, that they communicate, that they ball out when they need to ball out, and dive through, the score table when they need to dive through the score table and not let a ball drop because, I thought you were going to get it. But no. You just can't get that in a night, in a day, in a month. It takes all. What are ways that coaches screw this up where they hit the end of the season and their team is so tired of each other? Because 7 months is a long time. 10, 11 people on a team. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of Ava. I can't believe I want her off my team. I can't wait till next year. I just picked a name, Ava. Sorry if you're
to all the Avas.
To every Ava.
Sorry right now. I think there's probably a number of things to answer the question. So one would be, I think especially younger coaches would do this because it seems like their initial thought is, I have to be top dog. Mm-hmm. So I'm the one, it has to be my way only. I'm establishing this. I'm that. I'm almost doing too much. I'm like coaching too much. I think with today's athletes, especially junior athletes, not talking about collegiate athletes, and maybe even some of them too, I almost think that you have to spend time building that relationship first. So I think they jump too far into just being a coach. Yeah. Because they got to get to know you. And then the second piece, which is going to lead into that, is as you're trying to, if you were to do that and you weren't to overcoach too much, and you can stay on like, hey guys, this is what we're expected to do. This is what we need to do. I think instead of just listening to your own voice and being right all the time, sometimes they need to pay a little more attention to maybe what's going on. Yep. Like I have an athlete struggling over here, but we never really found out why they're struggling. And so quick to saying, we're being lazy today, or we're coming in every day like this. Stop and find out without making it too, you don't have to go super, super deep, but just kind of understanding that everybody has a day that's going to feel like that, or a series of days, or they might have family stuff going on that's really, really major, and they're bringing that into the gym and you can't help it. It's their entire world. Yep. So I think the overcoach piece too early, you've got to earn their respect. Yeah. You can't just demand it. Demanding respect from day one will turn a team off immediately. Yeah. Saying I'm the man, I'm right. You got to go here. I think you got to kind of earn saying that and realize that they don't care if you're somebody that they've watched for years and years and years, or they have no idea who and what you are.
Yeah.
You've got to show them that. And then they've got to have that, that time to figure out that, yes, I can listen to this person.
Yeah.
Yes, they're going to be there for me. The other thing too would be is you got to get to know the players.
Oh.
It's been talked about for so many different years in so many different ways, but it's like, you do really need to kind of get to know them. You can't just leave them out in their world and you're helping them grow, you're giving them another angle, and you want to know the players and know when they're in distress or how do I get them to snap back out of it? Because today they're just not paying attention.
Yep.
So they got to be able to do this and know that I'm getting on them, not just because I need to be alpha, but because I need to, I'm telling them that they haven't let it go yet. And they're not giving all because they're somewhere else.
Yeah.
So there's that piece.
Is that a hard thing to do and not lower your standard?
It is if you do it wrong.
Yeah.
Because then you're seeming like you're going, are you all like you're a little too soft there.
Yeah.
I think you're just establishing that you're going to be there consistently.
Yeah.
And that you're going to support all the failure. I think what we have on the volleyball court is a style of game where everything is very quickly a failure by one of the sides.
Yeah.
And multiple failures.
Mm-hmm.
And because of all of it, they have to get used to failing and what would be like the beneficial or good side of failing. We always say like, a good miss or something like that.
Yeah.
But not every coach is like that, because you can say, guys, we're looking for this and I'm going to appreciate you going. And, let's say we're taking out of system swings and some of the kids coming into, let's say 15s for the first time. A lot of times we'll have a loose ball, like scramble play, not a clean pass or a dig, and they won't get their feet to the ball and hit the jump and hit the ball as hard as they can.
Yeah.
We're throwing the ball over easy or whatever. You've got to build some trust so that they know that the expectation is you get your feet to the ball and jump and hit.
Yeah.
And here's the repercussions, but this is a team thing, not just you got to build that entire world for them so that they understand. Now, whether or not it takes place on your team, and hopefully it does, or maybe you're just building it for the next team.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you got to see it as all that path.
Yeah.
The coaches that are just, this is the volleyball, this is this, you should be doing that, but not really making them think.
Yeah.
Don't overcoach. So to younger coaches, let them think. They're incredibly smart.
Yeah.
As I get older, I realize just how much quicker their memories and their recall is than mine. Let them figure it out.
Did we talk about that? Oh,
yeah,
I guess we did. Okay, good.
And who are you? Thank you. I think if we don't let them think, then we hold them back.
Yeah.
They're the future. Like, let them figure this out. I think you give them parameters, tell them kind of what the expectation is, and then just give them gentle guidance on steering, but let them figure it out, because by the end of the season, they'll be a different team. They'll be empowered to do more. Don't do it for them. Don't live vicariously through them.
Yeah.
Forget it. If you're still playing, great, then do that when you play, but let them grow up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the hardest thing, where we, meaning you and I, have the benefit of our children, right?
Yeah.
So we had to decide how we were going to have them grow, what we were going to teach them, what things we were going to allow them to fail so they can learn how to get back up.
Yeah.
Younger coaches that haven't experienced that yet, you got to see it in those eyes.
Yeah.
You got to realize that you were them at one point and you wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
But if you do too much for them, then they won't figure it out. So that could be the workout. That could be how much effort they're putting in, time management, any of that. Like, you got to set the parameters, let them fail a little bit, and then give them another nudge. Sometimes it's more than a nudge, but I think we control too much.
Yeah.
And if somebody's going to completely fail on something and they seem like they're making an active choice on failing, I'm not showing up for practice, I'm always like, I don't communicate or whatever, then that maybe needs to happen.
Yeah.
And they need to, if they need to fall hard enough and have enough scrutiny put on them at that point, it's probably earned at that point.
Yeah.
So that's how we grow. We fail, we figure out how to get ourselves back up, and we go on. Newer coaches should let them do that and figure out a way to do that, or talk to coaches with either parents or older coaches that have been through that and kind of learn it through their eyes. Maybe even when they're not coaching their active team, maybe even consider being, and I know it's a volunteer thing, and it's really hard to ask, but like maybe just say, is there an opportunity where I can be a volunteer like once a week? I want to hear how you do this, because sometimes it's powerful to go, oh, I do have another option. I didn't need to go that far. Sometimes just being in the presence is a great thing.
Yeah. It's funny so the control piece is interesting. So we had a little ski trip yesterday with my son's school. So my wife took the day off school. We all went skiing. My 9-year-old last year, first time he's ever skied. It was not good. Let's say this was he like
he's still
holes
walking,
everywhere. Right? He's still walking, but like we did the bunny hill many times, not successfully. And then he got bored and it's like, oh, I want to try this. I'm like, buddy, we can't do this. How are we going to do I wanted to, whatever. We ended up doing it. He rolled down the hill, basically crying. I hate this. Again, last year he was 8. Whatever. His brother picked it up. He was 3 years older and Anyway, long story short, by the end of it, he had picked it up and he was flying. Now he was flying because he doesn't really know how to stop. But like, as long as he keeps his, skis straight, like he's woo, woo, woo. He's short and low to the ground. So it helped lots of things. But we went yesterday. So this is the second time. And, hey, we went down the bunny hill a couple times. It was easy. And then we went down the green and that was easy. It's like, Dad, I want to do a black diamond. I'm like, buddy, we're here. Let's pump the brakes for a second here. But like, it's once we were trying to figure out like, hey, let's start with the blue and which blue do you want to do? And to empower him a little bit just to make his choice. Cause like if all of a sudden I start making decisions for him, or even like last year when he was rolling down the hill, be like, oh, suck it up. You're fine. He's just going to push back, and then there's going to be an argument. There's probably going to be tears, and I see it no different than what we do here. Like there's going to be an argument and there's going to be tears, and so I think
the statement's going to be, well, Dad made me.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Coach made me.
Oh,
Patrick made me.
That's right.
Yep.
Oh, that was a your choice.
Yeah. Not me. No, that was you. But no, and I think that control, like, oh, okay, I'm in charge, of what I'm doing here. And it's interesting to see how they grow up year to year to year. Just thinking of these 18s right now when we had them as 15s and how different they were. The kids grow up, blah, blah, blah.
I think they also too, with things like that, it starts based with, ideas, issues, circumstances that are all specific to them.
Yeah.
But what happens is once we go through some of those, you watch that start to expand to, now I'm thinking about this person too. I can think about both what I need to do and how I can control that. Maybe there's a leadership piece that you're looking at there where now they're going to expand it where, I've just even last night with my team where we need to figure out how we talk to others. So we can control us 100%. We can control how we are, but we don't talk enough to each other so that we can resolve issues and still focus. And they have all those pieces, but unless it's set out in front of them to say, here's something else we need to master. We need to practice this the same way we practice out on the court, or that we practice in Oak. Those things have to be trained, just like using your voice, just like using and if they don't do it, then at some point you get to 17 and 18 that doesn't know how to speak to their team. They have issues with effort. They have issues with consistency and things like that. And they also don't trust and they're not confident.
Yeah.
And so they got to buy into all this, like to take even a 16 or 17 and say, oh, by the way, sorry, after all these years that we haven't fixed this, but you're doing this and it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Now you need to trust me to change this, even though now you're going to take a step back. You're not the best hitter on the team now, or you're not doing this, or you're not doing that. But for your safety, trust us to do this. And so a lot of things they gotta balance with that. I think it's the only way to build long-term trust with entire programs and other coaches.
Yeah. Yeah. If words of advice for parents, because I know we got to wrap up here, Patrick, because you're a big deal. You have things to do. Not that we started this podcast late or anything, but you're a parent. Your kids played volleyball in this club many moons ago. Everything that you're saying, I think is absolute gold, because I think the majority of coaches don't even think about the stuff that you're saying. that they're out there, they're coaching the X's and the O's. They're trying to get their score to be higher than the opponent's score at the end of the day. And outside of that, they don't really care that much. And I'm talking about any sport here. Like, it does, if you don't win, it's, and I'm not saying winning's everything, but like, I don't know.
It is important. It's very important.
Yes.
But that is the goal. But I don't think you can win until you address a lot of things. So that team will come together.
Yeah.
You're right.
But just that development of it. We had Tyler DeMoss, who's the head wrestling coach at Heinig on the last podcast. And he's so fantastic in the way of like, the kids just have to like wrestling. Like, and it's not a sport you like. Like, it's because you either get the tar kicked out of you or you win. And so like there's one of and so just to keep, hey, when they're, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like just enjoying the sport. Hey, coming to practice, like just, enjoying what you can. Cause again, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, blah, blah, blah. I think it's a similar thing with volleyball. And again, so much of the stuff that I think you just talked about, the average coach just doesn't run through their mind. And this is why I like full-time coaches, full focus coaches, with you and your staff. Like, this is what you guys do. It's not like you're an IT guy during the day, and then all of a sudden you put on your coach hat at night, be like, now Coach Freeman is here. We're going to do that. Right. But what do you think, last closing thing here, what do you think parents need to do to best support their kid during this, we'll say specifically high school time, where they grow and develop? And and I think there's pressure in this gym. You walk in and you see 50 banners. There's probably more hanging from the rafters. And this is what we do. We get kids to college. And these kids are going, but the parent wants to support them. They want, at least on my end, I want my kids to get the most out of their sporting experience. High school, whether it goes to college or not. Whatever. I want them to enjoy it because sport is fun. The teamwork, the life lessons, stuff like that. I think most parents are kind of there. Winning's important. You want to win. If I'm a parent, which I happen to be, and I want to support my kids in this high school journey of club sport, what do I need to be aware of? Because you've been on both sides.
I think a couple of things. One, be completely unafraid of allowing your kid to fail without you feeling bad about that. I think too many times we jump in because it's like my child didn't get this, or it's a miss. They're being treated differently, and it's before we jump down this little pathway because we think that may be the cause. That may be what's going on before we have basic conversations. Yep. So, we need to communicate and whatnot, but your child needs to fail.
Yeah.
And they need to understand that we didn't just fail at life, but we need to fail so we know how to get better and how to attack these things. Yeah. We can't train them to actually be top level elite or athletes that are going to go hopefully from our regional program, starting just loving kind of the idea of volleyball through premier, and then all the way potentially into elite, or jumping into one, or even moving from another club to here. There's a lot of mental sides of this. Yep. And I think you've got to be a little patient with it. Let them not be good. Yeah. Let them not think that earns them. If you're an elite program, that doesn't earn you a spot on the floor. Yeah. That earns you have the right, like, we selected you accepted. You're going to fail a lot. This gym is designed for you to fail and get used to that so that you can understand how your mind needs to be so you can get back up and not be in a scenario where your coach is even considering taking you off the floor for other than, okay, so we're getting picked on and we're not doing we're not doing this right. This is the situation. I need this. I need that. The normal things are, I need to be a little bigger here. I need to be a little cleaner there. I need to do this. But if we're taking on the floor because we're so afraid of the failure piece, and so are the families, we've got a difficult thing, because that conversation then afterward as they leave isn't supportive. Like, hey, you had a great day. Love what you did. I see you're getting better. Those type of things. Maybe this was a tougher scenario, but let's have a positive conversation so that they do still love coming here versus what happened today or any of those. We want to avoid that. We want them to go as hard as possible. If they're supported enough on both sides of that, from the family side and the coaching side and everything and the team side, I see them moving forward because they don't have all that baggage and so many things to focus on. They can use all their mental power versus just a portion of it to actually get better and move forward. So those that come in supporting like that and not kind of overthinking everything, they go farther faster. So that's the first thing. They're going to fail. They're going to fail a lot, and you should applaud that.
Yeah.
They're going to do that effort to failure to find out where we need to be so they can eventually get to that point where they can start focusing on the techniques and the things like that. And it may take thousands of reps for them to get better. It's all a process. Just be patient with it. That's going to happen. The other thing is, as they move from 15 into 16, please don't put the pressure to figure out what college is going to be on them so much that they're panicky about every time we get into a competition scenario where it's like, my goal is this, but I'm always, my head's on a swivel, always looking for, well, who's watching me, because they're not really worried about just getting there and playing well or whatnot. They're worried about, well, am I going to have my opportunity? Did a coach just get here? I was on the bench and then I left or whatnot. There's so many pieces that are being watched that are above and beyond what they're aware of. That everything, every piece of what they do, whether it's just sitting there with your team and how they interact with their team, to how they are on the bench and how ready they are to come off and on the bench. And bigger one is coaches watching teams that are failing, and how do you respond on there right now? They want that kid that's going to keep trying. So let them figure it out. Let them be strong. Let them establish what they need to here, fully support it, and keep pushing them to say, spend as much time as possible and figure this out. Don't tell them, oh, when you made that this and you made that, this shot, this move, whatever it looked like. Last piece of advice, and that's where I'm heading to right there, is don't coach. There's been too many scenarios where I'd say, even though your experience was good, like you have a lot of volleyball experience, we may be teaching it differently here. And so be careful, because you could undo something pretty quickly that maybe has taken some time to form. Also, it's a longer process. We see some athletes, you'll see we see changes on a very, very short basis, right? It's like, oh man, in a month, even you guys are saying this kid's really stepping it up. It's amazing. Such a low percentage, right? The rest of them just have to work their tails off and just get down to hard work to get there. If we have that patience to allow that to happen, the persistence and that, we're going to get there a whole lot faster, and we'll be a better supportive team, and just know that it's a bigger process until it happens. It's not instant. You're not, even if you end up on a ones team, you're still going to have to work your tail off to get on the court and those things. So as a whole, be supportive, be a great parent, high five your kids, be there for them, for all those things, and talk about those things. Let them do them. Let them be young adults. Let them be out here. But on our side, do the things like on the day where they're feeling a little bit off, get them to practice. Get them to teach them consistency. We all got to get up. I don't feel like going to work today, but I still got to go. Right?
You've never said that though. You've never.
I actually like working
in the last few years.
I'm good. But they need to learn that as well. And so we need them in here. They need to be here. They need to give everything here. So in our short time, even though for elite, it's 6 hours a week or whatever it is. And down to regional, it's only a couple hours a week. Make sure they're here, help them to make that choice to actually get here, make sure that it's in a positive light. And it's not, hey, it's tough on the team right now, or I'm struggling with this or whatever. Tell them that it's okay. It's okay to be afraid of that. That's how we're going to grow and get better. So keep supporting those things so they can break through and become, they can become better athletes and better teammates and do all of those things right. So just keep supporting, let the coaches coach, be there and be like the biggest super fan ever, and let it be.
I forgot who said this on the podcast. Who was our League One girl that we had on? Oh my gosh. D3 coach, Georgia. Oh my gosh, Patrick. This is terrible. What is her name?
Can't think of it right now either.
Oh my gosh.
I almost want to look it up, but
I really want to look it up because I'm like, I can't. Oh my gosh.
That's okay.
Jenny McDowell. Jenny McDowell. Okay. Jeez. Jenny, I'm so sorry. You're not listening to this, but if you were,
sorry,
we apologize. I think it was her, but she said the 3 questions that she encourages parents to ask or to say on the way home. Did you work hard? Were you a good teammate? And did you have fun?
Yeah.
And like, leave it at that. Yeah. Now, not, why'd you bump set that? Not, why'd you swing line on that one? Didn't you see the middle was blah, 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 blah. Why'd you roll? Whatever it might be. But like, if you're able to keep it, and I love it because I think it works to every sport. But just to compliment what you just said there, because you're right. Parents should parent, coaches should coach.
Adam, the number of parents that over the years that maybe you've had conversations with as well that I know I have, where the parents will say to me, I tried to give my opinion on the whatever, and they're not even listening anyway. So they'll only listen to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, then why try?
Yeah.
Just stay out of it. Mm-hmm. And I keep it all positive and keep it all like, hey, if it's tough, then keep motivating to like, keep addressing that, keep staying on it. It's okay. Like it's all a process. Like, yeah. I agree. 100%.
Yeah. There we go. Patrick, fantastic. Thank you for taking the time.
Absolutely.
Gosh, we ran long.
Thank you for having me.
Patrick, typically at the end of the show, people throw out all their social media handles so, they can follow you in all the exciting things that you're doing. But
me and social media, you are joking.
You are off the grid. So
that's right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you need more of Patrick Freeman, you just have to come here. You have to come to VC United.
That's right. Take a number and to get in line and
And he doesn't charge that much. So it's
I take PayPal though.
Yes. Might as well. A little Venmo. Patrick, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Listeners, thanks for listening, and we will check you on the next one.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for listening to another episode of Oak Performance Radio. Don't forget to check us out on the social at Oak Performance and online at www.oakstrength.com/Oak Performance. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.